Inspired by Racevic's latest video, Modding the Apocalypse, I decided I'd try my hand at my own adventure within the modded world of Call of Chernobyl. I rolled a Monolith character and was supposed to be gathering meat for my brothers when I got wind of an infidel who'd escaped our wrath. I gathered 6 of my brothers and decided that this was a task much more fitting of a stalker like myself. The trek would take us from Pripyat into Radar, then to the army warehouses, then to Rostock, and finally to the truck cemetery where our alleged target would be hiding. There were no issues heading into Radar until I heard that all too familiar whining pitch noise. Coming right out of the gate, we got attacked by 2 controllers, and I could only hope it wasn't going to be a dark omen for the rest of the trip. Finished him off with no casualties. So far, so good. Pushing further into Radar, we encountered packs of wild dogs. They were pretty easy to deal with until we got separated via an anomaly on the road. While trying to defend my colleague from a wild animal, I ended up shooting him instead. 1 down, 5 remaining. Much further down the road, we encountered a checkpoint manned by our fellow Monolith brothers. After speaking with them and trading supplies, they told me that there was a large amount of mutants in the surrounding waste that needed to be taken care of, and we all agreed to work together to get to the job. With our squad replenished, we pushed into the unfamiliar territory, careful to avoid any anomalies, looking for mutants. We made quick work of the mutant pack of dogs that had been terrorizing us in this area, and quickly returned to our journey. Having come from Radar and moving into the army warehouse zone, we were caught off guard when we came across a freedom checkpoint. I wish I could tell you that things had gone better, but when the firefight was over, all but one of my brothers had been killed in combat. The ambush we'd walked into had proven near fatal for all but one of my colleagues. We regathered our supplies and pushed the remaining Freedom forces back into a military installation, where a firefight that was larger than anything I'd seen prior commenced. I could barely see the men shooting at me, and it was impossible to find decent cover because half of the vehicles were so highly irradiated. As we continued to push up the hill, the shots continued to fly. Slowly but surely, we made our way towards the military base. I and my other Monolith brother alone against an unknown number of militants. The main street had turned into a hellish firefight, but my brother had fallen back to my right flank. I felt no reason to fall back and continued our assault on the warehouse installation. I refused to allow the death of my brothers to be in vain. It was only when I pushed up further and heard one of the wounded men crying for help that I went to check on him. It seems as though I had underestimated him and barely managed to escape. When his colleagues came to check on him, I made short work of them as well. The impromptu ambush of their recently deceased friends was surprisingly effective. It was only in the momentary calm between the waves and waves of assault that I realized the last Monolith brother who had been with me had died in the chaos of the firefight. I realized I was alone now, and rather than pushing forward into the installation, I set up a trap amidst the corpses of the freedom fighters, and made a quick and deft escape, once again committing to the primary objective which had brought me here in the first place. And so I'd finally made it to the truck cemetery. My target was in the northeast corner. Getting to him, however, would prove to be a little more difficult. While trying to work a way around this anomaly, I was attacked. Having had to find a significantly less fatal detour, I finally discovered the northeastern guard post and slowly made my way towards the target. Unaware of my position, I was granted a free shot. Following the volley of grenades, there was but one survivor left. I hadn't come this far to be taken down by one last man in a sniper post and ended his life as quickly as I did his brother's. I took what supplies I could and prepared myself for the long trek back. They would take me through the warehouse area, through Rostock, once again through the darkened, twisting corridor of radar, and hopefully, if I was lucky, back into Pripyat, where my home base resided. Coming back into Rostock, I was greeted to the foreboding sounds of anomalies and barely managed to escape an unfamiliar and indescribable force that tried to rip me apart at the seams. Before entering radar, I had managed to regroup with a Monolith brother. Whether he was part of my original war band, I couldn't say. Creatures in the dark seemed to hound us the entire way back. I was thankful to have my brother as a short-lived safety net. As we pushed further down the road and got closer and closer to our home base, we got attacked by bloodsuckers, creatures in the night that seemed to vanish as you shot them. They seemed to overwhelm us, and it was next to impossible to get away. I was bit more than a few times. It took so many bullets to put them down, and in the darkness I could hear so many of them echoing and calling around us. They emerged from the darkness as quickly as they retreated into it, and it was impossible to find them, to see them coming. I felt as if I stood no chance against them. Amidst the barrage of bloodsuckers, another Chimera emerged from the darkness. We tried our best to hold it at bay, but after the exchange, I could tell my brother had become seriously wounded. While taking down a bloodsucker, I heard the final cries of my brother, and the Chimera seemed to stand on his corpse and taunt me. It was me or this creature. I would either survive this trek, or be consumed by the zone. I had survived the encounter with the Chimera, but not much further up the road I encountered yet another bloodsucker. Between the impending doom surrounding me and my consistent weapons malfunctions, it became apparent that I had to get the hell out of radar. That was the last time I saw that. Ran off into the night to terrorize other stalkers. Perhaps it had been scared off by the impending return of a colleague near the outpost. I was able to align him to join my group and took him back with me to Pripyat, where I encountered once again a Chimera of epic proportions. Being low on ammo and lower on health packs, I knew this was not a fight that I was going to survive. Fortunately, something seemed to distract him. and in turn an anomaly in the area seemed to attack him. It was one of those strange moments where the zone was equally beautiful and terrifying. I hoped the anomaly would destroy the creature, but for the time being I was safe, or so I thought. It didn't seem to have any interest in me after being electrocuted, so I pushed further into Pripyat, hoping to find the safety of my base. It was only then that something much more terrifying struck. Having returned to Pripyat, I hoped to find my brothers, a network of support and safety, and instead their panic instilled in me the same sense of fear and dread as an ion storm approached. I watched as they scrambled in an unknown direction to me, hoping and desperately trying to find safety. I knew not where they were going, but as they passed through a nearby anomaly, I realized that I'd have to find my own shelter. In a dark corner of an unfamiliar basement, myself and my colleague resided and waited out until the ion storm was done. And like all good stalkers, we shared our vodka and food and desperately hoped that no mutants would find us. When the storm passed, I was able to turn in the quest and finally get a night's sleep.